How's the weekend? What y'all been up to?
Doing a little building in the backyard.
You're building?
Yeah, a little building in the backyard. Yeah, you can
Well, that's cool.
see a little fireplace going in. So.
Oh, that's really pretty. Okay, so is this because you can't have a pool, or it's going to be in addition to the pool?
No, because the pool was scratched due to utility lines. So decided to scrap it, shift, pivot, take your 6-foot ugly, nasty hole you have in your life and find something new. Preaches, actually.
Preach, for sure. That's amazing. Man, that stinks, Josh. I thought y'all were going to figure out a way to do that.
Well, I technically did. It was just going to cost about as much to do all the utility line movement as the pool. I just couldn't stomach spending that in the same way. So,
yeah. What is this?
What up?
dude, where did you get the haircut? Cole.
It's my quarantine.
You got white.
Yeah. We may need to borrow your trimmers because I was going to cut Brad's hair. It was not working. I mean, he was like, I think we. Yeah, whenever you're ready.
What's 101 mean? Oh,
It's 1:01 p.m.
101.
Sounds like
All right, so I'm going to spotlight you and Josh's video, and then y'all just get rolling. All right.
guys, and then we'll get going. So we are going to keep this to right at 30 minutes. I know that's hard to do on Zoom. Sometimes they tend to go over. So I'm having technical difficulties. It's not letting me share my screen. So I'll give you a little bit of background of us real quick. Actually, Josh, you want to give just a quick little background on us and kind of what we do?
Yeah, so I don't know the right description to call us, but I'd say really we're real estate entrepreneurs. I think we love thinking creatively on how do we take what we've learned, how do we take what we've experienced, how do we take the clients and the different types of activities we're doing, and how do we keep bringing in better solutions, maybe affiliated partners, maybe referrals into it, and then ultimately, hey, why don't we just go ahead and create this, build this ourselves, because we're already doing it with other people. So I think we've kind of followed that type of curiosity formula, try it out, try work, try fail, and then all of a sudden it's working, leveraging the right people. So real estate entrepreneurs, I think is a kind of a crazy way to say what we're doing to create new ways to build and grow.
Yep, that's exactly right. Cool. And can you guys see our screen? Look at that. That looks great. That orange is popping. Okay, so we know this kind of sounds like a gimmick, like the title. So Tara's like, come up with the title. So I just came up with the sexiest title I could think of. So 5 ways to increase your income over the next 90 days. Sound too good to be true? Probably is. Just kidding. No gimmicks here. So first, I think the things we want to go through is kind of talking through mindset and why now is the time to build, right? So the time to build income is now. And I think we've talked through that a lot. So consistency in anything will bring results or consequences, right? So over the next 90 days, and being caught up on all the shows, then that's the results you're going to get, right? So
maybe you start a podcast, right? So that's possibility to build something, but that's a stretch.
That's exactly right. So what are you going to be consistent in for the next 90 days? While most people are kind of going through this waiting period of the economy to open, the economy's still open, right? The real estate's still moving. So be consistent in the things that matter. Also, there is a random arrow pointing up, just showing that to you guys. It's a random arrow pointing up for no reason. Okay, so as you look through the slideshow, you'll see some random things. So one thing we kind of talk through is uncertainty in the markets, which is clearly uncertain in the market right now. People are just asking a lot of questions, not investing. So who does it favor? So it favors the builders, the innovators, and the risk takers. And what does that mean? We'll kind of go through each one, but we always kind of look through opportunity and say, in these uncertain times, where's the opportunity? And being one of these three things is really where the opportunity lies. Because as you adapt, as we adapt to these new times and these new things that are going on, these are the three kind of areas that you can be one of them and really come out ahead of your competition. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think what keeps running through my head is that there are so many people, so many businesses kind of trapped in uncertainty right now. And if you simply find that you can, we're going to talk about this in terms of referral capacity. If you can simply be the voice of solution, the voice of problem solving, the voice of creativity, I think people are really hungry for. They don't know how to get it, but you have the right capacity to bring that. So who can you be to a marketplace, to community, to businesses? And it may be real estate specific, but it may be even outside of real estate. It's just, you have the ability to bring it. Just do it.
That's right. Yeah. And we're going to give 5 kind of really easy ways that you can actually craft some income over the next 90 days. And it really falls within one of these 3 categories. The first one is builders. So what can you build? And we've kind of got some questions to ask yourself. So take some notes if you're taking notes, but what can you build over the next 90 days? And maybe it's a business, maybe it's a Facebook group, maybe it's a newsletter, maybe you want to write a book or a blog or something, but what can you build? What can you craft over the next 90 days? You have extra time. People are looking for content. This is a great time to be a builder and to build something.
And I'm going to stop right here. And I want to be really, really specific. And here's my biggest challenge. And that is, you need to be waking up earlier than everyone else, number one. If you used to wake up for your day and you don't have to get your kids started till 7 or 8 or 9, you need to wake up at 6. If you used to wake up at 6, you need to wake up at 5:30. Here's the thing. You have some untapped mental, emotional, physical energy you can give to stuff. And if you simply carve out, give yourself 30 minutes, 60 minutes a day to build something you haven't built. Maybe it's your database. Your database can be one of the best things. You've been told 1,000 times, build your database. If you'll set aside 30 minutes to 60 minutes every day and literally put tangible time, energy to creating something. Maybe it's a YouTube video series. Maybe it doesn't matter, but you've got to wake up earlier. That's when no one else is waking up to begin building the specific things you want to build.
Yep, that's good. So second, what can you innovate? So this is different than build, right? So how's this different than build? So building is maybe something from scratch, or maybe you're working on your database and building from scratch. Innovate is you're looking at something the way it's always been and saying, how can that change? How can that now adapt and mold into this new environment that we're in and make something better than it was before? So innovators really have to think futuristically and almost say, man, it doesn't exist, but it'd be great if it did. Or, we've never done this thing in the past this way, but it'd be great if we could. So what are some ways we've already innovated as realtors, right? We're already looking into virtual tours, just lots of different things that we're doing now, and title companies are doing that. And a lot of businesses are now innovating new ways to do business. So be creative, think outside the box, obviously. And then this is kind of my favorite thing, is make something people will laugh at. So it takes some courage to actually be an innovator, because you're going to craft something, you're going to build something, and on the outside, it may not make sense, and it may not, it may make people laugh at it first. And that's kind of the path you want to go down when you're innovating, is something new and fresh that's never been done before.
Good stuff. Risk takers.
Yeah. So then the third kind of person you can become, or kind of you want to think through, is becoming a risk taker. This is not what I'm honestly great at. But what calculated risks can you take over the next 90 days? So these are kind of the three challenging questions we have. What calculated risk can you take is one of them. And then, how can you cause a ruckus? How can you challenge the status quo? How can you buy when others sell? How can you give when others take? So constantly just thinking and recreating yourself and saying, now's the time to take some calculated risks. When most people are buying, if you want to dive in the stock market, obviously now's a phenomenal time if you can ride it up over the next 2-3 years. That's a risk, but at the same time, that's whenever you dive into the market. So the risk takers, will go the spoils over the next 90 days.
And we'll get into specifics, but I sometimes just want to throw stuff out there, and that is, I think an opportunity in taking some calculated risks is to go through and call every landlord investor that owns a lot of rental properties and say, hey, are there any properties that you're feeling a little bit nervous about that you feel like you need to sell in this season? Go find the investor. I would guarantee you make 25 phone calls, you're going to find 1 or 2 investors that says, you know what, I probably need to sell something. And then you go find a buyer. Maybe you go buy it yourself. There's some interest rates are a little bit cheaper right now. If you can ride through some tenant uncertainty, go take it down yourself, get it for a discount, or go find another investor who's looking. So when you're making phone calls to investors, you're asking them 2 questions. Do you have any properties that maybe you kind of feel like you want to liquidate just to take off some of the risk? Or if I find something, can I bring it to you? Go take some calculated risk right there. 25, 30 phone calls. I'd be shocked if you didn't find some business in that.
Yeah, that's good. Good practical knowledge. All right, so 5 paths to income. So we're going to dive in. So those are kind of some opening questions. Just ask yourself who you're going to become over the next 90 days. And then here's actually true 5 paths to income. We'll go through each one individually, but first is ancillary business. Second is investment property, which we are super, super, super bullish on right now, buying rentals. Third is government programs. So we'll talk through that. Tara's had a lot of great content on that. They're going to release more money there, but most of our businesses have had a huge influx of cash content and all in on lead gen. There you go. There's a bold quote for the bold 2.0. They can steal that. All right. So number uno, ancillary businesses. So where do I start? How do I build a business? The very first, and I got this from expansion systems orientation. They talk about this in expansion teams, right? Where do I expand to? Well, the answer is, where are you sending the referrals to? So you can start an ancillary business by, what are you already sending referrals to? Look back over the last year and kind of track, like, we sent a bunch of referrals to a painting company. And maybe something small like that you can partner with the painter and create a business. So, I got 3 kids knocking on my window, being cute. Kind of a fun interruption. So anyways, most part.
Yeah, I mean, that you refer business to, property management companies. Property management companies will often pay you a referral for the business. Painters, general contractors. There are some regulated industries like a little bit more difficult to get paid on it, but virtually every other business, a financial planner, who can you refer and send business to, and in return you get something back?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So just thinking outside the box. So how can you create cash flow from day one? That's obviously a huge thing. So like my buddy, and also a client, he started a virtual Lubbock. So this is a great idea, right? So he's kind of market and saying, hey, obviously realtors are going to need a lot of virtual tours. He went out and bought a $1,000 camera, and he literally owns virtuallubbock.com. Started a week ago, and he's already had over $3,000 worth of revenue in 1 week. So looking for opportunities within the market. And you may say, as a realtor, you may say, I don't want to do that. That's fine. Partner with somebody that does, right? So I think one of the best investments that we as realtors don't look at is investing in businesses. Those are kind of my two favorite investment vehicles are real estate and businesses. And whenever it says business, you don't even have to be involved. You can find the right person, find a super talented photographer, talk to them through a virtual tour business and launch it, because you already have access to the 1,200, I don't know how many agents are on the board now, 1,500 agents on the board. So you have access to a huge market, that these people, that you could come alongside with them, a camera person, and honestly start a virtual company. So anyways, just thinking outside the box, creating an ancillary business.
I mean, think about every single person that touches, influences, gives service to a real estate transaction. And it's really significant. Your plumbers, your electricians, your inspectors, your home work. I mean, there are so many of them that if you saw someone that you really trusted, you saw a lot of excellence in, and you said, hey, I want to send you some more business. I want to put your name out there and you share something with me. There is an economic reward for helping to bring value to other businesses and pointing your clients to them. So could go on that forever, but it's endless where you can go.
Yes, totally agree. All right, that's number uno. Number dos, investment properties. So I'll let Josh kind of dive into this, but we are super big on what we call SFR, single family rentals right now, because we actually believe there's more of a demand stirring up for single family rentals. As mortgages get tighter and it gets harder to own a home, guess what? That creates an increase in renters. And so rental properties actually are stronger today than they were even 30, 60, 90 days ago.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, we're in what I think is a very abnormal, probably 30 to 60 to 90 days. All right, so we're going to see some abnormalities in tenants. Can they pay their rents? So if you're going to go out and buy a rental property today, I would just kind of warn you, it's a possibility you're going to have some tenant income disruption over the next 90 days. But what I'm talking about is over the next 6 months, 12 months, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. This may be the asset category or the real estate asset category that has the most opportunity for investors all over the country. Hedge funds, investment funds are literally pouring in hundreds of billions of dollars trying to go into markets to own single family rentals, because they see all the demographic numbers are that people honestly are maybe even through this virus situation, they're wanting to have a little more social distancing. Apartments are a dense market. You have to rub shoulders. You have to park close to next to people. You got to walk in next to people. A single family freestanding home gives some more privacy, gives some more social distance. And as people can't own the property because of student loan debts, because of credit scores, mortgage restrictions, they're going to want to rent a property. And so I think looking at the long term, owning single family rentals is getting to be phenomenal. And there's actually a whole nother category of mortgage financing that's opened up to the single family rental market. You don't just have to go to your local bank, credit union to get a mortgage with a 20-year amortization on it. You can actually get 4%, 5%, cheap interest rates over 30 years that have non-recourse. So I could talk about that for a while, but I think the demand is there. I think you've got the interest for the long term, and then your debt costs are really inexpensive. So big bullish on that market.
Absolutely. Number 3, government money. So once again, y'all have probably seen a lot of resources on this. The politicians right now are actually voting. I think it's today that they're trying to pass this new wave of funding. So if you missed out on the first PPP program, go ahead and get that going with a local bank. We can be a resource for that. If you don't have a good local bank, if you've already started it, then get in line, because this next funding will go quickly. I don't remember the exact numbers, 310 billion, I think in the second wave. First wave was a little bit more than that. So they're about matching it on the second funding. But some of our businesses have actually already been funded by these PPP program. And as long as, at this point, what we know is as long as you keep employing people, whether 1099 or W-2, it should be forgivable. So if you want to talk about the easiest way to make additional income in the next 90 days, it would be make sure you are self-educated on these 2 programs, and that you are getting in line already if you haven't. So I know a lot of you have already been funded. Like even my personal LLC got funded. I know Josh got funded. A few of our entities did as well. So as a realtor, supposedly this next line is going to be a lot easier to get into, get your 1099 funding. But you got to get in line now, because it's first come, first serve. They're already backed up like crazy for this next round of funding. So please get with your accountant, get with your banker as soon as possible, today, tomorrow.
Yeah, I would literally, like, if you don't talk to your banker, one of the local banks today or tomorrow, you've missed the boat. I really think it's that imperative. Don't feel like you have to have everything perfect. Talk to your banker, talk to your accountant, get those pieces of data they need. It's not complicated. You just have to go do it. But if you wait till Wednesday or Friday, it literally may be too late. So just do it.
That's right. Just do it. That's a Michael Jordan shout out right there. It's a Nike shout out. But if you watched the Michael Jordan documentary last night, woo! Still hyped from it. Best athlete ever. No LeBron lovers here. It's not even close in my mind. All right, number 4, craft valuable content. So kind of like we're doing here, and Tara's doing a great job of this, Keller Williams is doing a great job of this, but you need to craft valuable content for your audience. You have an audience. You have Facebook friends, you have Instagram followers, you have a database. You have to be crafting content. And it doesn't have to even be perfect. It just has to be consistent. That is what they're looking for, is consistent content. So you can do live videos like this. You can do Zooms. You can just do random posts about helping people with the PPPs and the EIDLs. You can be a valuable resource in this time. So we're really emphasizing that on our team, is you've got to be the face. People are on Facebook more than ever. I'd be really curious to see those stats, what the Facebook time is right now. It's probably sad. But people are constantly looking for hope. They're looking for optimism, looking for entertainment. So be that person, even if they're not looking to buy in the next 90 days. That's not the point. The point is you are their person of choice, and you're on the top of their mind when they do choose.
You know, something that some of you guys have probably done this before, but if you haven't, something that's real simple. You're in the real estate world. People love homes, and they love the personal interaction. So if I was you, I would maybe go look through the MLS listings, look for vacant homes, and go in and find, like, once or twice a week, say, hey, I'm going to walk through and do a live video on what I love about kitchen in this home. And so one day it's about a kitchen. One day it's about, here's the best backyard. This is why a livable backyard, another part of your house you can have. And you just literally pick out listings that you love, vacant listings that you can go in, do a live video, talk about why that's really attractive. You may generate some new buyers from it, but along the way, you're showing people your personality. You're showing people some creative ideas on what's attractive in homes today. You're giving them content, and it's kind of fun, and it's your niche. So find ways to just put that stuff out there.
Yes,
people want to
totally
see
agree.
it.
And if you're kind of insecure about it, like I am at times, do it with somebody else. Like, you can co-host these things on Zoom. If you get the webinars, you can push these things live. So you could have 2 or 3 or 4 other agents with you doing it, or y'all could have a topic on interest rates or whatever, and you can do it with other people. So it's more important that you just do it and consistent in it. And then number 5, the last but not least, this is kind of my favorite one, is all in on lead gen. Why? Because that's really the only reason. Nice. So no, but seriously, I think lead gen now, it's kind of like beating a dead horse. Don't even know what that means, which is a very violent statement, but beating a dead horse over and over at Keller, like we always talk about lead gen, which is great, but now more than ever, what is lead gen, right? Lead gen is simply one thing: it's connection. It's you creating a connection with the person that you either know or don't know, and then they trust you enough to buy and sell real estate. So what are people craving right now? They are in desperate need of connection. And so we're all connected, and we already have this connection. So easy to just call somebody, even if we're cell phone or expired, or someone in your database, and instantly have a connection saying, I'm stuck at home too, or we're doing the self-quarantine thing together. Like, we're all in this thing together. So you have instant credibility and connection whenever you do make these phone calls. And honestly, our team has had more success over the last 30, 60 days with our online leads than we've ever had. And I think it's because one simple thing. Number one, people are less busy and they're answering their phones. But then really, it's people just want to be connected with other people. And so that's what they're craving right now. So be that resource when you're lead genning. Don't think about it as a real estate transaction always. Just think about it as truly trying to connect with somebody else and seeing if you can help them.
And I don't want you to limit to lead generation to just, if you're a real estate agent, you're lead genning for a buyer or a seller, an investor. That's obvious. I want you to think, what are some areas in my business that I can prospect and lead gen that I can be a benefit to them and they can be a benefit to me? I know for us in the financing world, we're talking to more lenders. Who are some other lenders that have some loan products that would work for us, that would work for some clients? We're trying to create other avenues of lead genning and relationships and strategic connections for some other areas that can bring business into us. So don't be fixed on just, I got to find a buyer or a seller investor. think outside of the box. What are other relationships? What are other businesses that I can help and they can help me? Maybe it's calling other referral sources in DFW and say, I want to be your source. I mean, you have the time to lead gen in several capacities. You just need to get in and do it.
Yeah, that's great. Cool. Well, what's even more phenomenal is we kind of got through all that in 24 minutes. So I'm impressed by us. It's nice having a time frame on it. So if we can help you at all, please let us know. We probably even have through the chats. I don't know what's going on in the chat world.
Tara, anything popping up or anything you heard that's worth diving into?
Yeah, so Jaylene had asked, do you have resources or links for any of these new options and loans for investment properties? And that is a question that I've been getting a lot. So are y'all able to fund from your government programs investment properties? Is that the LLC you were talking about, Mark?
Yes, and the short answer is, Tara, you can use the government money for whatever you want. I mean, I'll just be the first to say that. There's not a restriction on how you use it. If you do get a PPP, a Paycheck Protection Program loan, they do want to have evidence that you're maintaining and you're still spending money for whatever the paycheck protection you got. So if it was for your 1099, you want to show that you've got 1099 income. If it was for literally a W-2 for yourself or for your entity, you just need to demonstrate that you're maintaining that over, I think, the next about 2 or so months. But in terms of where you spend that money, you can technically spend that money wherever. Just have documentation when it comes time to prove that it's forgivable, that you can do that. The other side to it is, even if you don't have documentation and you borrowed money from the government and it didn't go to paycheck protection or rent or mortgages or utilities, which you can prove that, it's a 1% loan that you pay back over 24 months on 18 monthly installments. And quite frankly, you should make a better return on your money by investing that and then paying it back. So I think however you slice it, you can utilize those funds for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So, and that's specific, from y'all's understanding, even with your investment properties, you were able to get a PPP.
Yeah, because you've got, you've got a paycheck that you're making, a 1099 paycheck or a W-2 paycheck.
Yeah, rent loss is one of the categories in there. So you can, I think the 1099 stuff has kind of been put on the back burner. So once again, make sure you're in line for that, because that money's going to go so quick the moment they release that this week. And she was asking though, she said, do you have any resource or links for the new options in loans for investment properties? So Josh, you're kind of talking through that maybe on the non-recourse stuff, but that's more institutional capital as far as for individual stuff. But as far as, getting financing, and I'll let Josh kind of talk to us real quick, how would you say is the best option for people to buy rental property right now? What's the best financing options and, least amount of money down, things like that?
Your traditional banks are going to want 20% down. Some of the credit unions can be a little bit more creative. We actually started our own kind of private lending company that if you buy the property discounted enough, you can sometimes get into a rental property for less than $5,000, $10,000, but it does require you to buy it at a pretty good discount to market value. Otherwise, if you're buying it for pretty much market value, it's, you do have to come up with pretty close to 20% down. So the real key is use your market knowledge, use your negotiating knowledge to get properties 5, 10, 20% below market. That should be your real goal. And when you do that, you've got options how you can get into it for less than normal cash down.
Yep. 50 cents on the dollar, then there's potentially an options again with zero money down, but it's really finding the deal. If you can find the deal, then there's financing options. Cool. That's all the kind of questions I see. Anything else, Tara? Look at that. Under 30.
Yeah, I'm always a question asker, but I think it's so good to just think about like letting your mind think, like giving yourself options. And so how do you consciously, how are y'all making time just to think?
I think this goes back to, set aside time that no one else is setting aside. Wake up a little bit earlier. You're probably not having to work 40, 60 hours like you did. So literally shut down the distraction and the noise and just quiet your mind, position yourself, and then read something and let ideas come from it.
Yeah, I think reading is big. And then the other thing I'd say is, and I've told a few people this, number one, there's something to be said to say, hey, double in on lead gen. Let's lead gen like crazy. And that's all good and fine. But I also say, enjoy the slowdown. Like in the slowdown, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for us to do some thinking, right? Really creating some thinking time, whether that's journaling or just, crafting notes that you put on your computer. And reading really stirs up all that for me. So grab a good book. There's a lot of good books out there. Slowly read it. Don't kind of rush through it like I usually do. Take notes about it and let it soak and meditate, and you'll come up with some creative options.
Hey guys, speaking of prospecting, I got to grab this call. It's the next thing I'm going after. So God bless. See y'all later.
Love it. See ya. Hey, Mark, what's some books you would recommend?
I got a bookshelf full over here. See all of our books color coordinated. That's the wife's job.
You are a color coordinated guy? That's
yeah, it all depends on your bookshelf. So this is a great one. Seth Godin, I love all of his stuff. Honestly, if you're looking for a podcast, my favorite podcast ever was a series he did called Startup School, and it's like 10 episodes, and it's just him kind of teaching a school on startups, but really some great marketing ideas on there. So Seth Godin's Startup School is a really good one. So that's probably my favorite one. If you never read E-Myth, I don't know, I was going to show you my bookshelf. E-Myth, this is one of my favorite books I've ever read too. It's kind of a classic in the business world. So there's two good recommendations. Shoe Dog's down there, Cole. Shoe Dog. If I ever don't know what to read, I just pick up Shoe Dog, man. Just read a random chapter. It's my favorite book. It's all Cole Wisenhunt right there.
Oh, great.
Got my Nikes on too, man. It's like brand. So my bright Nikes. Can't stop wearing them now.
Amen.
Yeah, y'all watched way too much MJ last night. That's funny.
Woo!
I just am really surprised that you are such a book color coordinator. It just really shocks me.
My wife did that. I did not do that. I would not be at all. So yeah, she did that. Made it all pretty.
Okay, Erin does make it pretty. That's good. Okay.
Right.
Hey, any great questions that you ask yourself whenever you're thinking or after you read a book?
No, I mean, honestly, I'm not very good at that. I just started though with the slowdowns, reading differently. So yeah, I used to read to get through books. And me and Cole had this conversation the other day, and now I'm really slowing down and trying to read, instead of read as many books as I can, just slow down and actually process them. So I think that's probably more key for me than asking great questions, but reading slowly and stopping whenever there is a good, actionable item and actually writing it down or thinking upon it instead of just hustling through and getting to the next chapter and so on. So just slowing down, because there's so much good content out there. But at the same time, it's only as good as what you can implement. And so I think just slowing down, actually implementing what I read.
Yeah. So that we can just not think, because it's actually a lot of mental energy to think. Mm-hmm. And how if you catch yourself going to Facebook, that you may want to be consciously aware, am I just trying to escape something that's making me think hard? It was like an eye-opener for me. I was like, holy cow, that is totally what I do sometimes, is I start thinking about something that could be a great idea, and I'm like wanting my mind to well, this is hard, it's a lot of energy, and I go to Facebook. So anyway, just being consciously aware of that and not letting the distractions be around while you're thinking and reading.
Yeah, and so speaking of thinking though, so this is a good one. Lance Loken actually recommended this one, The Road Less Stupid. I'll kind of end with this, but it's kind of a funny title. But literally, it's a simple book, but at the end of each chapter, he calls it Thinking Time, and he posts all these questions. So if you don't kind of know what questions to ask, he does it for you. And he's really big on saying, hey, you need to go think on this. Think on what's in here and think on these questions. So anyways, Road Less Stupid, Keith Cunningham, really kind of a great book that I'm slowly going through as well. And once again, he's kind of done all the questions for you as far as running businesses and things like that.
That's awesome. Road Less Stupid. All right.
All right. Everyone needs a little bit less stupid, especially me. So, yeah.
Whatever. All right. Thanks. Y'all are awesome. We appreciate y'all hopping on and sharing with us. All right. We'll see you later.
Thank you.